Hello everyone. So today we will try to fix this induction cooker. The problem with this is it keeps on flashing error E0 on the screen. Let me plug this in and I will show you what it's doing. You can see it turns on, but when I put a utensil on it, let me grab one. So when I put a utensil on it and press start button, you can see it starts but then displays an error E0, and it keeps on doing so. So that's our problem. Now let's keep this to a side, and actually I have already removed the screws. So let me remove the top cover and we will take a look. As you can see, it's looking pretty messy. So first let me give this a quick clean so the dirt does not get all over my hands. So I give this a quick cleanup. Now we will first remove the coil, and to do so we will have to remove 3 screws that are holding the coil. So first up, the 2 green wires you see, these are for the sensor. This sensor actually senses when we put a utensil over the induction cooker. So if this goes bad, we may also have the same problem. So we will also check this. So under this heatsink, we have the main driving MOSFET and a bridge rectifier. So the first thing we are going to check is if we have 18 volts and 5 volts from the main IC. Let me zoom in. So you can see it's written on the board 18 volts ground and also 5 volts. So we will use these test points to check if we have 18 volts and 5 volts. So let me grab a multimeter. We will set the multimeter to 20 volts DC. We will put negative probe on ground and the positive probe on the 18 volts DC. As you can see, we are getting 17 volts, so that one is okay. Now we will check for 5 volts, and you can see we are also getting 5 volts DC. So we are getting both 18 volts and 5 volts, so that's not our problem. So there are a couple of components that we need to check. First one is this IGBT MOSFET under this heatsink. Next one is this IC, which we already checked. Next one is this voltage regulator IC. Next one are these 8 kilo ohm resistors. Next component we need to check is this preset. This preset is what sends voltage to the IGBT MOSFET. So if this preset goes bad, we may also have the same problem of displaying E0 error. So we need to check that. First, let's flip the board to the other side and we will take a look. Let me zoom in for this. So as you can see, we are having corrosion on many places. You can see we have corrosion between these 2 terminals. So that may be our problem. So let me give this a quick cleanup and we will then check if the induction cooker is working or not. So as you can see, it's displaying the same error as before, so that was not our problem. Let's move on to the next one. So we will check this sensor if the sensor is good or bad. For that we will set the multimeter to resistance mode, and as you can see it's showing a resistance of 83 kilo ohms. So this sensor is good. So now let's check these two resistors. So for some reason my multimeter was not working, so I had to use a different one. So now you can see we are getting a resistance reading, so the resistors are good. Now let's check this preset. So this preset has 3 legs, out of them 2 are connected with each other, and we should get a resistance reading of about 250 ohm between one of the 2 legs and the third one. As I checked, the reading from this preset was all over the place, so this was bad and I had to replace it. So that's what I'm doing now. I took the preset from an old induction cooker board. As you can see, this preset was of the same value, so I used it. Now let's try if the induction cooker is working or not. So as you can see, it was again doing the same thing as before, so our problem was not solved. At this point, I decided to change the IGBT and the bridge rectifier, hoping that will solve our problem, but that was not the case. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump to the conclusion. So this clip you see is after hours of wasting time on changing all the components. Let me show you. So basically I changed the IGBT, I changed the bridge rectifier, I even changed the sensor. This is heat sensor that monitors the heat of the IGBT MOSFET. I even changed the resistors that were testing good, hoping they will solve our problem. I also changed the preset again, thinking the one I used was also bad. So finally what I did was, let me show you. So finally I thought of changing the capacitors, so I removed this capacitor, and to my surprise this was the capacitor that came off this board. You can see it's 5 microfarad and 400 volts capacitor, and you can see it was cracked. So yeah, as soon as I took it off the board, I knew that this was gonna be our problem. So I soldered a new capacitor in place of this one. Now let's screw everything up and we will test if the induction cooker is finally working or not. So now let's plug this in. We'll bring the same utensil to test. We'll turn this on and you can see it's displaying no error. Let me show you. As you can see, it's not displaying any kind of error. Let's see if we can boil some water and we will finally end the video. So we have some water. Now let's turn on the induction cooker and we'll wait. So as you can see, the water is slowly boiling. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, so I'm in a little hurry. So yeah, that was it for this video. If you like the video, please make sure you subscribe the channel. Thanks everyone, and keep watching.